Hey all, I thought I'd make this video about Rogue One, a Star Wars story, because I recently gave it another watch because I came home from a busy day and I was scrolling through Netflix and I saw Rogue One, and I hadn't seen Rogue One since I first saw it back in 2016, so I thought, why not? I'll give it another chance. Uh, when I first saw Rogue One, I wasn't impressed by it. I thought it was too gloomy. I didn't like how it was shot. I couldn't get into the characters. The story was interesting, but I didn't think it was executed well enough for me to think it was a good movie. So I watched it again, and honestly, it was pretty good. Uh, yeah, it's strange how my opinion changed on this film uh, so much. Uh, I think because I'd seen The Last Jedi and that really left a bad taste in my mouth, so maybe that's why my expectations were lowered a bit. Uh, but yeah, I actually kind of like Rogue One now. Uh, I think it's one of the better movies, Star Wars movies, to come out of Disney's lineup. Uh, I mean, I kind of like Force Awakens, but I don't think that movie is as good as I thought it was anymore. Mainly because of Last Jedi and how the promises set up in Force Awakens were let down in The Last Jedi. So, yeah. I mean, this movie has its flaws, don't get me wrong. I hate how they used the CGI Tarkin and Leia. That was really distracting. And I thought they should have just recast them for the movie. I mean, it shouldn't have been that hard to get someone else to play Tarkin. I mean, or Leia, for that matter. So, yeah, that I didn't like. The first 30 minutes to an hour, it has this handheld documentary style cinematography. I get what Gareth Edwards is going for with it, uh, but I thought at the time, especially when I first saw it, I thought it didn't suit a Star Wars movie, and I still kind of think that, but I am more forgiving of it now because I realize that this is meant to be a war movie, uh, or it's attempting to be a war movie. Uh, it could have been executed better, uh, but I get now that with the characters especially, they are meant to be torn by war. Especially Jyn Erso and Cassian. They've lived their whole lives in a battlefield. And I get that now and I understand it. Because at the time I thought, why aren't these charismatic characters like the one like Finn or Ray, you know? And I thought it was going back to the prequels, in that they were going back to very shallow characters. But I actually think it suits the movie now that they are kind of shallow and not all that interesting because it's trying to tell the story of the Death Star plans, how the rebellion got their hands on the Death Star plans and how they managed to find a weakness in the Death Star. So yeah, it's weird how my opinion changed on this so much. You know, it, I went from thinking it was overrated to now I think it's actually kind of underrated. Um, because I think it's gotten a lot of flack over the years. I mean, it was pretty well received when it first came out, surprisingly, and I didn't get it. Uh, and then over time, I think people say, yeah, it wasn't that good. But in retrospect, I actually kind of like it, and a lot of Star Wars fans do like it. Uh, in the same way, I think they like Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. Uh, because yes, Revenge of the Sith has its cheesy moments, but it's a story that was worth telling, and it's, you know, it's what people want as opposed to what people think people want, if that makes sense. Um, because Disney thinks that you should harken back to the original trilogy, and the original trilogy is by far the best uh, Star Wars trilogy or set of movies out there. That's undeniable. But for them to recycle that and, you know, give the same thing over and over again, I think that's what Disney thinks people want, but that wasn't the case. So I think Rogue One is a whole lot more original, and yeah, it's weird how I've actually liked this movie now. I think I'm repeating myself here. So I'll end the video here. What do you guys think of Rogue One, and have you watched it recently? Uh, that would be interesting to hear your thoughts on that. Because if you haven't seen it since it first came out and you didn't like it, watch it again like me and tell me if you actually change your mind on it. Uh, yeah, uh, I'll see you guys next time.